Wild Ones. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. I'm Whitney Rose.
And I'm Connie Daniels. Okay, everyone, we're going to just dive right in today.
Yeah, because we have a treat. We don't just have a snack. We have a treat, a dessert with the cherry on top today. Let's just dive in because we have our good friend, Deb Thomas, here with us. But Connie, you start.
Yes. Okay. I have been wanting her on our podcast for a long time now because to me, Debbie is one of my very favorite humans on this planet. You know this.
Same.
And I've known her now for over a decade. Introduced her to Whitney about 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, geez.
Yeah, it's been a while. But Debbie has such an interesting life and life journey and lifestyle. And so I want to dive into that a little later. But just to tell you a little bit about Debbie, she is a mother of 6 amazing kids. Amazing. They're all adults now.
Yep.
A husband, incredible husband, John, been married for 33 years.
We've been together for 33.
Okay.
We've been married for 28.
28.
And you have 2 or 3 grandkids?
We have almost 5.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They have 3 and 2 on the way.
3 and 2 on the way.
Yeah. 3 and 2 on the way. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. And they've made it work this long. So I want to find out some of her little secrets and fun things that you guys do to make life exciting, to make your marriage exciting. So...
Well, yeah, and we were just sitting here prepping for the podcast today, and we're like, what are we going to talk about? And we're like, I don't know. We could go any direction. And that's why Deb is here, because she is honestly so smart and so open. And every time that I need mom advice or just advice, human advice, Deb always runs into me at the gym at the right time. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I actually have.
I never really see you that often. And then when I need advice on something, you're always right there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is. It's not crazy.
So where are we going to go today?
She gives really, really good advice, but she said something to me. I'm just going to bring this up and then we're going to dive in. But she said this to me the other day and it stuck with me. She said, you know what I've learned is when somebody comes to me with an issue or in their life or a problem or whatever, I ask them, do you want my support or do you want my advice? And I love that because all too often we just are like, oh, I know it will help, blah, 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 blah. And we just lay it out there. And a lot of times people just want someone to hear them and to support them. So I'm glad you shared that with me. Just one of the billions of things you've shared with me that stick with me. But
thanks.
Yeah, I love that. So, okay, tell us a little bit of the history of, I don't know, how old were you when you got married? And I know you raised your family really Mormon and all of that, right?
I mean, really Mormon, yeah. We could get into that a little bit.
Yeah, just give us a little background of who you are, where you came from.
Awesome. Well, I kind of grew up I grew up in an abusive home and where needs were not met. Boundaries were never set. I didn't even know what a boundary was. It's still hard for me sometimes to hold on to boundaries or to make them myself. I met John when I was 16 years old at a youth conference event, so I will forever be grateful for the church because that's where I met John. And he kind of plucked me up, a little abusive 16-year-old girl, and put me on this pedestal. And I've said this many times, I was very uncomfortable being on this pedestal. I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. I didn't feel worthy of it. He helped me to feel worthy to be there, and he's never even let me put a toe down. And so being up there on this pedestal, I don't know, it just kind of it opened up this world of I can do anything, And for me, being abused and not treated good, to be treated like this, I don't know, I've always just grabbed onto John and just held him as one of the greatest gifts in my entire life. And I think when you see your partner like that, you treat them differently. So he served a mission, which was the worst 2 years of my entire life. I was devastated. I didn't even want to live.
Where did he go?
He went to the Philippines.
The Philippines.
Yeah. And a cool story about that, he told me that he was going to serve God, but if I waited for him, he would serve me and our children the rest of our life. And he has absolutely done that. If I waited for him, he said he would do that. And so he said I was going to serve God. I'm not going to be thinking about you. I'm going to be present. And so he kind of quit writing me. And I was waiting for him, but he told me to date. So I was dating a little bit, and I was dating this guy, and I was just kind of sad. And so about 4 months before he was returning, I started writing in my journal. And I just, where are you? What am I going to do? You know, I'm so sad. I'm depressed. Like, why aren't you writing me? Anyway. And so I knelt down and just started praying and just sobbed and prayed and sobbed. And it took 3 weeks for a letter to get to you. I get this letter, and it's from John in the Philippines. And he said, the weirdest thing happened to me. He said, and it was dated that night. He says, I was asleep and you walked into my dream. And he says, you laid down next to me and I held you. And I remembered how much I love you. And then he just said, wait for me.
Wow.
And that is all I needed. I quit dating. I did everything possible so that I would be prepared to be with him.
Wow.
Gosh. That is so crazy because you were so young to have these experiences and be so in tune.
Yeah, those are really deep emotions.
Yeah, mm-hmm. We are super close to, I think that every one of us are super close to the next, I don't know what it is, I couldn't tell you what it is, but we're close to that next place. I want to call it heaven or whatever it is, but I get insights, I am guided. I know really quick if I can trust somebody or if I can't. And I don't know if that's from just being in an abusive childhood where you become really quick at going, nope.
It's because you're used to survival skills.
Yep. And what do you need to do to survive?
And you're discerning.
Yeah. And a lot of times I won't trust somebody, but I'll study them because I want to be close to even people I can't trust.
But do you feel like sometimes you make the mistake and then you trust people too easily and then you get
sometimes hurt? But I don't know, the older I get, the more I realize there are no mistakes. Like in my life, I can't name one mistake because I love who I am right now. And because of that, nothing is a mistake. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You know, I think it's beautiful when you finally realize that because I don't know. I think it kind of goes back to how you're raised and like with religion and stuff, there's a lot of guilt and shame like involved if you're not doing what's right, quote unquote.
Right.
And so until you figure out, wait a minute, like that's not shameful. That actually, I've turned that into a strength now. And now it's a part of who I am. You know, even just like going through my divorce and everything that led to that, it was like, not to make it about me.
No, please, you know by all means.
Like,
but I'm just saying.
Sorry for the text. I forgot to cancel Bobby's ride. Carpool issues.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, you're good. We're moms.
We're all good.
We're moms. I mean, we have to be moms, right?
That's
right.
First.
So back to your divorce.
No, but
back to Connie.
Back to me. No, but what I realized, there were so many things I could have sit and regret and felt bad about for the rest of my life. But truly, like if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I really like who I am today. And I like, you know, it going through that gave our marriage a lot more like a different direction, different purpose, a different passion that we wouldn't have had we not experienced such a hard thing together.
Yeah.
So whatever, you know, those things are that you go through, if you make it through on the other side, there is a lot of beauty. If you can get through the hard stuff.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. And so anyway, back to me.
Yes. Please.
So we ended up, I waited for him. He asked me to marry him. We get married and we started having our family. And when we did get married, there was all of a sudden the abuse started showing its head. And I know that you've kind of
about how old were you?
At 21.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John would, you know, I mean, he would try to be intimate with me and I would be like, what's going on here? So there was a lot of things that I had to get through and work through. And still, even today, like you're never done.
No, and it always creeps up on you out of nowhere.
At weird times. And so now, though, instead of being scared, like my big thing is every emotion is beautiful. You know, my kids will call me and they're sad and I'm like, and this is so dumb and so cliche, but I'm like, tell me more. This is such a beautiful place. You're in a Delta. I love this. Tell me more. Because it's there to teach you something. What are we going to learn? You know, and I'll always ask, what do you need from me? How can I help you? How can I support you? But anyway, okay, so when John and I got married, we had all of our kids really, really quick. We had 6 in 7 years.
Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
No.
and you have a set of twins.
A set of twins on the end. So we had 4 kids our oldest was 6, and John had just lost everything. We didn't have a dime to our name. We were on welfare. We were on WIC.
Oh my God.
If you have not written a WIC check, you don't know what humility is.
Yeah.
It was humble, it was hard, and it's some of the best times of my life. For real. Because I will never take advantage
and you had
of anything.
4 under 6 at that
4,
time.
our oldest is 6. John he had some partners that almost destroyed our lives had he not been completely honest. And they tried to get him not to be honest. And there's no way. Like, John lives a higher law. He lives the higher vibration, which I wish a lot of us lived. You know what I mean? That do what's right no matter what. And he did, but in the meantime, we lost everything that we had. And I'm sitting in the living room one day, and I just have this feeling that there's another baby that wants to come to our house. And so I go up to John, he's sitting at the table.
And wait, you have how many at this
I
time?
have 4.
4.
Our
okay.
oldest is 6, and we have nothing, and he doesn't have a job. And I'm like, babe. And he goes, what? And this poor, cute little face is just broken. He's sad. He doesn't know what he's going to do. It's just the hardest time probably in our entire life. And I said, I know this is the worst timing, but I just felt like another child wants to come into our life. And he goes, I don't feel it, but I'll go on your faith. And I just went, really? And he goes, absolutely. So I go buy a journal, and the first page is, I know you're coming. We have nothing for you but love. Will you be a boy or a girl? I don't really care. What if you were twins? That's too much to ask for. It was twins.
Seriously.
That's the first entry.
You make me cry every single time.
I know, that's why I love you. You're the best listener in the world. There is not a better listener than this girl right here.
Well, you have a lot of really impactful, beautiful stories and that are part of your life.
And you're always very intentional, and like not very many people think to like write that down.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
like
glad
to
I did.
document it. And
I'm glad I did, especially forgetting so much as I get older. I read things like that and I'm like, oh, I remember. Yeah, writing down is so beautiful. And so anyway, we had twins, and then when our babies were about 3 years old, I started having feelings for a friend of mine who is a girl. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? You know, because that's wrong, right? You shouldn't have feelings for the opposite sex, right? I mean, that's what we've been taught.
That's what they say.
You know, and I've always kind of lived.
And you
a
were
little
active.
bit.
You were active
Oh
Mormon
yeah, active
during
Mormon.
this time. Yeah. So your
100%.
kids, you're going to church.
Oh, going to
callings,
church
all of
every
it?
week, and not even just callings. My husband is in the he's in the Young Men's Presidency at the time.
Which, for those of you who don't know anything about Mormonism, that's a higher calling
For youth.
Yeah, for the
Yes,
youth.
correct. And I'm also teaching Sunday school, and I just came to John and I said, hey, I'm having some feelings for my best friend. And this is his answer, and this is what's so beautiful about him. Do you want to explore that?
Kate, we got to pause here because, one, how did you have the courage to tell him? And two, that is a beautiful response. Like, I don't think most men, husbands, or partners in a heterosexual marriage would respond like that.
Right.
There'd be jealousy. There'd
Yeah.
be question. There'd
Yeah,
be,
am I not enough?
Yeah. So, but how did you have the courage to say it? Was it an urge that you just knew you could not? Like the feeling was too real. Like how did you have the courage to come forward with that?
I think that when you are on a pedestal, when you're here and you have so much confidence in your relationship and you're able to be 100% authentically you, you're not scared of those things. I was never scared of it. Ever. There shouldn't be fear in a relationship. You should be able to express your fantasies openly.
Yeah, but I would say most people don't feel that way.
Yeah.
There's fear. There's not the security.
Yeah, for sure. We live in a world that is full of fear.
Yeah.
Not my world.
Yeah, you got to teach us how to do that.
Well, do you think that like one of the biggest things that was like you've always had that open communication with each other from the
100%.
beginning?
100%.
And so just pure trust and open communication.
Yeah.
Like, I love you for you, no matter what that is.
Yeah. And mind you, we have never even had a drink of alcohol at this time.
Yeah.
We're raging alcoholics now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're not. But we had never even had a drink of alcohol.
Right.
Like we had never even watched porn. Like nothing. I mean, I was never vanilla ever, because I've always had a higher sex template, and that's because of abuse.
Yes.
When a child is abused, their sex drive can be enhanced or nothing.
Well, I was going to ask you how much of like your confidence of going to John, your openness and your fearlessness goes back to that survival mode. Like you're just used to like getting and saying what you need because no one gave it to you. Right. So you had to go get it yourself.
Maybe. I mean, that could go two ways for people. It could be quiet and withdrawn and don't trust anybody. Or when you have somebody that opens up this world of trust and beauty, then it can go, I'm safe here. And I think, to me, the most important part of a marriage is feeling safe.
Absolutely.
Feeling safe to say, I'm not sexual right now. And being okay with telling your partner that. Like, we don't fake anything. I don't fake anything. Like I have a great, strong sex drive, but every once in a while I'm like, I'm not there this week.
Well, and how beautiful that he doesn't take it personal. I think that's really hard in a relationship to get to that point where you don't take things personal, you don't get defensive and you can just hear someone. It's like, hey, I'm not feeling this way, and realizing that actually doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
That's you just sharing where you're at right now.
Yep.
But let's go back to that moment, because I have a feeling John in that moment just like I don't know him very well, but I know him well enough. Like I know his character, I know his,
Yeah.
I bet he just rose to the occasion for you. Like, do you want to explore that? And I'm sure like his openness and his willingness grew as you explored. Is that?
Yeah. And the crazy thing is John didn't really come with me.
Blown away that he was like, okay.
Yeah, no, he didn't I said, I want to start drinking. I want to have a drink. And he's like, awesome. He's like, you can do that. I don't really feel that right now. So, and it was equal respect. You don't have to. I'm going to go try this. And so we did. And I was drinking probably for 6 months before John even had his first drink. And then he was like, I want to come along with you.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Because
you were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
I
do
do remember.
Before or after your girlfriend?
This is at the same time.
Same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking you didn't hide one thing.
No,
you were
never.
like, hey, I want to explore this. I want to explore this. And he was like, okay, I'm not there, but I'll support you.
And I trust you. Like, I will die with John. People are like, I mean, everybody lives in this like such fear thing, and it doesn't have to be that way. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to be the person that I will die with. Either him and me together or separate. We'll be together when one of us dies.
Right.
And so having that knowledge, what we do in our relationship is so fun. I can tell you this, we've never been bored. And I think that boredom is what kills relationships. People get complacent. Mm-hmm. Then they start, when you live with somebody, you're going to see everything. I am lucky, as are you. I don't know how you and Justin are, but I know that Ben is just like this. I could do anything, and John's like, oh, that was so cute. I'm like, I belched. It was the cutest belch I've ever heard. Like, I could do anything. And he just thinks that Connie could do anything, and Ben would be like, oh, look at her. Like, he's just so obsessed. And John is obsessed with me, and I have become obsessed with him.
Well, I think that's the key right there. Instead of getting like, okay, you're overbearing, you're kind of a lot right now. I love that you love me that much, but I'm feeling smothered. Instead, you switched it, and you're like, not that you thought that. I'm talking about myself, how I am.
No, but I've been there too, where I felt smothered, and I'll tell him that.
Yeah.
And
then you'll tell him, like, hold on.
Stop. No, like, I'm going to start my period tomorrow, and don't breathe. Like, we're open.
Yeah.
People that say we never fight, I'm like, ew. You don't ever fight? Like, that sounds like the most unpassionate, boring relationship in the world.
Well, everyone fights. Everyone fights differently, though. Like, not everyone fights the same way. Not everyone screams. Some people throw fits, give the cold shoulder, do intentionally piss each other off. Like, you can fight in so many ways.
Oh, so many ways.
Yeah. So Justin, I would say, is obsessed with me, and sometimes he's like my shadow.
Yeah.
He's a sweetie.
Totally.
Yeah, he's always with me.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was mortified that he couldn't be here today. He loves to be a part of everything.
Yeah, that's the way John is. John's one of the girls.
Yeah, but he's not as good at, like, he expresses it different when you say.
Yeah,
he's not
absolutely.
like, if I burped, he wouldn't be like, oh, that was adorable.
No, really,
He
John
wouldn't
has actually said that to me. I'm like,
but if I'm like, whenever I'm the most embarrassed, like, let's say because I like to get wild and have fun. If I'm, like, drunk and goofing off and, like, you know, streaking through the wherever we are.
Normal
like,
things.
he's like, oh, that's my wife.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
love
like,
that.
in a different way.
He
but
celebrates
like,
your wild.
Yeah.
That is a great way to put it. John celebrates my wild, where some people are horrified of my wild. He's not. Like, Justin's not horrified of your wild.
No, well, no, he's not.
I don't think so.
I think that if we're going to be, like, blatantly honest, I'm not as open about what I need and want as you are.
Oh.
That's something I'm working on.
Yeah.
Because Justin and we got together but on infidelity. So that trust has taken a long time to build. To know that, like, we're not going to leave each other.
Yeah.
You can have fun and explore whatever, be fun, free, wild, get drunk, all of that. But the trust that we're still each other's foundation, that's taken a lot longer to build.
Sure.
That takes a long time.
Because we started on, like, sneaking around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, but that's the start of your story.
Yep.
Which is beautiful. Like, every start is beautiful. However it happened, you guys were meant to be.
Yeah.
So to me, everything is mindset. You can be like, oh, we started cheating. Now it's fearful, it's scary. Or you guys were drawn to each other and you
got on the right
honored
path.
that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of divorce and moving on when it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, divorce is okay.
Yeah, within the parameters of how we wanted to live our lives back then and explore, our spouses equally were not okay with it. So we were kind of like, not forced to, but we wanted something different. Yeah. And then we found each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you happy you did?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah.
No.
I love that.
Yeah. I feel like, if anything, there's been hard times, obviously, but it has put me on the path I need to be on.
Right.
So, and I know that. I know that. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I love about getting older is then you have enough time in your life to look back on and go, oh, I see now.
Yeah.
I see why this happened and why that happened. It's like, because I'm here now and and I feel like I'm on my right path.
Yeah, but I know everyone is probably dying to go back to the girlfriend. Because what happened? I mean, we kind of know, but I know everyone out there. Like, we can't assume that everyone knows the story.
Right, it's true.
Yeah. And I actually don't know the full story.
You don't?
So, no.
Okay,
hold on one
I'm very, like, I don't ask questions unless people want to offer it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. We're going to leave everyone on a cliffhanger really quick. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get to
I want to know about the girlfriend.
Yes.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, everyone, if you're out there listening to this right now, I guarantee you've been through some things in life that have challenged you, confused you, or even hurt you. I know I certainly have. No one's getting out of this life unscathed, that's for sure. So let's be honest, marriage and relationships are not always easy. I love therapy because it helps me to be happier in my marriage. When I can have a third-party professional step in and help me understand my husband on a deeper level and why he really says and does some of the things that he does, it almost immediately softens my reactions. It's kind of like having an interpreter to help you read between the lines in times that you don't see eye to eye on things. It's hard sometimes to trust in your own intuition that you have the right answers to questions and situations in your life, whether it's in your own marriage or your relationship, parenting, a friendship that isn't going very well right now, or a boss that you're struggling with. With the right help and some practice, it gets easier and easier to trust that you're making the right decisions that are aligned with your core values. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/wildrose to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/wildrose.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, let's hear it. More about this girlfriend.
Yeah.
So this is how many years ago that the feelings first started where you first noticed?
Oh my gosh, 18 years ago.
18 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so our kids were little, and this is the thing, is we were very, very cautious about what we told our children. Because John is very responsible. I'm actually really reckless, which I've had to reel in just a little bit so that I don't hurt people. You know, because I never want to hurt anybody, and you're going to hurt people regardless in your life. Try not to, because then you can say, I tried not to, I really did. And so John has kind of helped me lasso in that recklessness. And he said, whatever you do, you can do it, but be careful that our kids, like the rug isn't pulled underneath our kids, out from underneath our kids.
Yeah, that's smart.
It is smart. And so our kids had no idea. She ended up moving in with us and was, our kids still had no idea. And
was she your girlfriend or you and John's girlfriend?
Oh, both.
Both.
Yeah, eventually John, like, we've done everything together. We really have. Like, there hasn't been times that it's just been me. Because I want him to come along. Like, I want to share everything with him. And he wants to share everything with me, and so it's so fun to do it together. But anyway, and so we were, just having fun. It was never like an exclusive thing, it was just fun. And so John ended up, we went on a cruise to Bonaire, and he's like, I think I'm gonna start drinking. And I'm like, awesome. That's great. So he goes and he orders Long Island iced tea.
Oh,
this
no.
is his first drink,
no.
you guys. And he tripled it.
No.
And so I was so sick. I had the flu. And so I'm wrapped up in this blanket that we took from the cruise on this beach chair watching John. He's so drunk. He can't even hardly move. And he's out there snorkeling, following this octopus. And he stands up and he's like, this is the best day of my life. It was so cute. We have had so much fun exploring I can't even imagine living one way my whole life.
Yeah, life has so much to offer.
Oh my gosh, and so many different roads. Mm-hmm. And when you fly out of Utah, do you ever just go, the world is so big?
I go,
yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, not that bad now because I don't care.
well, you've built your own life here. You've built your own you really have established a good group of friends and people who support you here.
100%.
Yeah.
And a lot of those friends were warned by people, which is interesting.
We're what?
We're warned. Be careful. Be careful of those guys. They're predatorial swingers. I'm like, rah.
Well, I actually know a lot of swingers in Utah, and it's so funny because everyone, season 1, when, Lisa was trying to accuse me of being a swinger, and I was like, no, I know a lot of swingers. I'm not one, but I have no problem with it.
Oh, I don't either. I don't care whatever. This is if people could get to this place in their life, they would enjoy it so much better. Can I say fuck?
You can say fuck.
Not giving a fuck what anyone thinks. And there is so much freedom in going, oh, you're cheating, sweet. Well, if that's working for you, it's working for you. And then just minding my own goddamn business. It's so liberating not care.
Why is it so hard for people? That is
because
so
they're
hard.
bored. I'm going to tell you right now, they're bored. They're bored. And also religion
Yes.
incites judgment. Because, I mean, Ricky Gervais does this awesome little thing on religion where he's like, if you were born in Thailand,
Utah,
you're going to be a Buddhist. If you're born in Utah, you're going to be a Mormon. If you're born in, wherever you're born, that becomes who you are, and you're the chosen people. And I remember as a Mormon, I don't want to make this about Mormonism because I love Mormonism. I really don't care. It has benefited my life incredibly. But I remember thinking, we're the only chosen people? Like,
that
doesn't make sense to me. Like, what about the billions of people that aren't Mormons? Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
I had the same thoughts. I'm like, so does every Catholic think they're the only chosen person?
They
Does
do.
every Baptist? Does every...
Yeah.
Like, it never made sense to me, even as a little kid.
Yeah. But the earth is turning into, this is going to sound really kooky, and you can edit this out if you want, a new dimension where there is going to be a different way of thinking, and it's vibrational, and it is quantum physics, and it's coming. And you can choose to be a part of it or not.
Well, there's a mass awakening right
Yes.
now. For sure.
Yes.
And I mean, that's everything I believe in. I'm wearing my celestial
100%.
moon necklace right now. That's what Prism's all about,
Yes. I love that.
I'm curious what you think about this, because I've thought a lot about this in the last couple of months. Connie and I have been very open and honest on our podcast with different things we're struggling with individually. Do you think, so growing up Mormon, I was always taught sex is preserved for marriage because that is your connection to God with your spouse. So it was always this like higher power. Sex means glorious higher power, right?
It creates life.
But I always instinctually, even as an abused kid, it would not even put the abuse aside. I've just always viewed sex as a need. Like, I need food, water, sex, love, right? I never ever really like bought into sex is like preserved so I can go to heaven with one person.
Yeah.
So I think that that's where a lot of people get the judgment from.
Sure.
Is because they're not even honoring sex as like something we do as a need and a drive.
Yeah.
It's more about holding it to this glory of God. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. I think that we overthink it. I think that we overthink sex. Because sex is, to me, something that is so fun.
Yeah, it's just like
and explorative. And everyone adds something. I mean, we're not I wouldn't consider us swingers. Some people, I guess, would. And that's okay. I mean, if I wanted to, I would be. I have nothing against it at all. Who I am today, I may not be in 10 minutes.
How do you identify then? You just don't want to label.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Whatever feels right for me is right for me. You know what I mean?
You love love.
I love love. And so if it's a couple, then it's a couple. It hasn't been. I mean, we've experienced that before, but it really hasn't been. For me, it's just a woman, another woman. I'm definitely 100% pansexual because I've actually kissed gay men and loved it and had incredible sexual feelings with gay men too. It's energy and it's pansexual. So I think that people overthink sex. I think people should quit overthinking sex, where it's like, if you have sex with somebody, you're going to download all their emotions. And you're like, fuck. Oh, I don't want that. Like, I just, and I can honestly say we've had sex with a few people. That hasn't happened for me.
Yeah.
I still don't have your emotions. Like, that was fun. That was a cool experience.
Where does that belief come from?
What?
That like downloading your emotions?
Oh, I've heard it many times.
Really?
Where there is a transfer of energy when you have sex with somebody that can wreck your life. Really?
Guess I
well,
just
you're
haven't had
pretty
enough
weak.
sex with enough people.
Yeah. Right. And so, I mean, we've only had 3 girlfriends. People think we're these wild, crazy. Or this is another like fun thing is we've actually met some people. They'll probably listen to this show and they'll be like, "Hey, we're not swingers." I'm like, "Oh, bummer. Well, bye." It's like, really? I don't want to sleep with everybody. It's like, I don't understand that way of thinking. Like, if we're friends with you,
they have to warn you.
Yeah, they have to warn us.
So you know.
Just so you know.
We get to know each other.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting us know. I guess we'll carry on.
That's such a weird. It's their fear and judgment
100%.
projecting onto you.
Yes.
Would that be kind of like straight men feeling like they have to like, or women, straight men or women having anytime they're around somebody gay, they're like, oh, just so you know, I'm
Yeah,
straight.
just so you know.
I'm straight. Like,
thank you.
That's
just so you know, I
Isn't that
wouldn't be
similar
attracted to you
Yeah.
anyway. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of a
hoping
weird
that
thing.
people were evolved more than that lately.
They're not.
Yeah.
I guess because I've always had a best friend that's a lesbian, and even when she wasn't out, I'm like fully knew she was a lesbian.
Oh, totally.
You know?
Yeah.
So I never thought even to be like, oh, are you gonna be into me?
Yeah.
That never crossed my
No,
mind.
it doesn't me either. But
If
people
anything,
have
I'm
asked
like,
not
I
just
better
one,
not
several.
drink with her. Just kidding.
Or do. Depends on what you want.
But no, it's just so fascinating because I don't know, there's so many lifestyles, and I've noticed, especially, I think it's way more common within gay men to bring in a third. But I've noticed in heterosexual relationships, people are bringing in thirds. Like who I should say, like stereotype history.
Sure.
Heterosexual are bringing in a third partner.
Yeah.
It's like really common.
Yeah.
And I actually met we met at drag brunch up at the Edison House. 3 men that are married to each other.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And you,
I
one of your
absolutely love
girlfriends,
it.
like the first that I actually met, because I think I kind of came in the picture when things were ending with your
the
other
first one.
Yeah, the first one. And then your second one, that was like a whirlwind romance, right? Like you were
yeah.
going to get married.
Oh yeah,
and-
I still love her. We still talk. I'm friends with all of my exes. With her,
It's just becoming
it was a
more.
whirlwind.
I guess like the reason we want to talk about it is because like it's becoming more and more common, and some people are like adapting to it faster, and some are running further away from it with judgment, fear. You know, there's like two sides of it.
Well, because that's fear, you know, and a lot of people have been conditioned their entire life that sex is between a man and a woman only, and you must be married. And honestly, I've encouraged all of my kids to sleep with their partners before they get married. And I've encouraged them to explore every feeling. You know, if you're gay, be gay. You know, if you're lesbian, be lesbian. I don't care what you are, but don't hide from your feelings.
Right.
You know?
So speaking about your kids, how did they accept the news when you came out?
Okay,
When did
so
they find out?
Right, we decided that we were going to keep everything under wraps until our youngest were adults. So until they were 18 years old. Hard for me because I am an open book. It's hard for me to even keep a secret.
Because you didn't even let them know that you were drinking alcohol
Not
at
at
the
all.
time until they were
Not at all.
At least,
and I don't know if that was the right thing to do. We did it, so obviously it is the right thing to do. But I knew that my kids, like we have such a mutual, beautiful respect with each other that I knew that they would start drinking really young if they knew that we were. So I don't know if I would advise that. You know, like I love the way that you've been super open with your kids the entire time they've been your kids. You know, I think that's beautiful. But this is what John wanted. And so and he only had one request. You protect our kids from everything. You let them be kids. It's not their job to worry about what we're doing, which I do agree. I didn't want them to worry that their mom is a lesbian. You know, that's just not something they needed to know. And we had already established this religion in their lives that I didn't want them to be like, whoa, wait, what?
because it was almost the opposite of
100%.
a lot of
And
things.
we taught many Sunday school lessons completely hungover. You know, like but we would teach the stories of Jesus. And to me, you can't go wrong with the stories of Jesus. You know what I mean? He's so easy for me to teach because he's who I aspire to be. And then there's this other side of, wait, how can you be a spiritual religious person and also be committing this horrific sin? And you just have to decide what mindset you want to have. Is sex a sin? It can be used that way. If you're dishonest and deceitful and lying, like I don't want to hurt anybody with it, but we do. We don't mean to. It happens. You know what I mean?
Like any relationship.
Like, yeah, I mean, life happens and you don't want to, but it happens. And what's important is the repair there, not the what happened. It's how you repair. So anyway, 18, our twins turn 18, and we have a girlfriend who we were kind of trying to hide still, and our daughter heard us. And so we were at the mall, and my daughter Jada said, "Mom, are you a lesbian?" And I said, are you ready to hear this? And she said, yeah. And I said, I am. I am a lesbian. And she started putting things together. She's in chemical engineering school right now at Texas A&M. She's brilliant. And and within 10 minutes, she had everything figured out. Everything. And I was like, that was fast.
Like,
I mean, hold on. Wait a minute.
I think that even when we think we're doing a good job of disguising things from our kids, they still pick up the pieces. And like they're smart.
They're smart.
Little sponges.
Yeah. And they knew, I mean, the entire time that we were raising them in the church, I was also teaching them, because we had devotions I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
Your daughter was a part of many of them.
She still brings them up.
Yeah. And we would have these devotions, and I would always say, what do you guys think? Like, this is the most important question you can ever ask your children. What do you think about this? How does that feel? I have asked my kids, they'll tell you hundreds of times, well, how does it feel? Because they would say, Mom, what do you think about this? How does it feel to you? I don't want to answer, and because I'm a very strong personality. I didn't want my kids to fall in line under me. I want my kids to be their own strength, their own people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I would ask that a lot. How does it feel? Even raising them Mormon. How does that feel, that talk that was given today? Oh, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't either. That doesn't feel right to me. Mm-hmm. You know, and so they knew that I was not living the church rules. I'm not a rule follower. I create the rules that feel right for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so they knew all along that I wasn't 100. I mean, I was getting tattoos and piercings. And in fact, I got a tattoo that said, live. And we were standing in the mirror, and my oldest daughter goes, look at what that says in the mirror. Do you know what it is? Evil. And I said, I love it even more. Because to me, you have to have balance. Like, you just can't.
The duality of it all.
It is.
It's yin and yang.
Yeah.
You can't have positive without negative.
No.
You can't have light without dark. And it's just always balancing it all out.
Yep. And that's the key.
And keeping your vibration, your frequency high. Because you're going to dip and mess up and
100%.
be negative and pull in darkness. But you got to get right back up and cleanse.
Yep. And you have to know where this place is.
Yeah.
And
so
that's the key.
all of your kids now, so your daughter, your twins, they're both in college.
Yeah.
And
yeah, all my kids are in college right now except for one.
So how are they all now, like...
Because talking about feelings, how they feel, I imagine they all felt a little different.
Yeah.
Did they all kind of go through their own wave of processing it? Like,
and it's
where is
been
everyone
so
at now?
fun to watch. Oh, our kids. Okay, so when the Housewives interviewed me, or they interviewed our family, this is our third interview, they asked Jada. They said, Jada, what were your...
where does Jada fall?
She's my baby.
Yeah.
She's the chemical engineer. She's living in Qatar right now on a full-ride scholarship. She's incredible. By far my favorite. My kids watch your show. This is going to be fun. And so anyway, they asked Jada, what are your thoughts on your mom and dad? And this is Jada. At first, we felt very betrayed. But all of us love and respect our moms so much, our mom and dad so much, that whatever they decide is right for them, we will respect.
Wow.
And I mean, everybody, Lori, everybody was just like, wow. And even our son, I have a son that's also bisexual. I won't say which one. But when they interviewed him, he said, you know, we were all very confused, but at the same time, it opened a door for me to be who I was. And I think so many kids are forced into these boxes that they don't want to be in. Everybody wants to be their own person. Nobody wants to be in a box that their parents have created for them or society.
Right.
And that gave him and all my kids an opportunity to just explode into who they were. And that has been fun to watch.
That's awesome.
We went partying with our daughter, and she had a girlfriend there with her. And they're making out and dancing, and honestly, I've never been more proud. But she's like, it's not for me. She's going to marry a guy now who's 13 years older. And he was like, are your mom and dad going to be okay with this age difference? She's like, I don't know. Let's call. So, because our girlfriend was 21 years younger than us.
Yeah, what are you going to say?
I was like, and they FaceTime me, and I'm like, really?
That was such a Debbie response.
Yeah, I know.
Let's call.
Let's call and see. Oh my heavens. And Miles they were laughing so hard. I'm like, you are disgusting. To me, I don't see age. There are some, my twins are 20 years old and they're more mature than 60-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're just so mature. Like age to me is not something that should contribute in when you find love.
No, Justin's 18 years older than me.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
When we fell in love, I did not see age at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And now you have to still see that soul.
It's harder when you get older.
Yes.
But that's when it comes into what we're talking about is like speaking your needs, speaking your wants, keeping it exciting, but keeping the honesty and trust. You can't judge what the other person needs or wants.
Yeah.
I always say you're never going to be on the same page all the time, but be in the same book.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Cover to cover, be in the same book. Just, you don't have to be in the same page every day, but be in the same book.
Yeah. Or close to the chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great analogy.
But some books skip around, like the Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah.
You can be in chapter 5.
I love Choose Your Own Adventures. I feel like I'm in that book right now. Every
you
day.
created those books.
Totally. John, he always says, I never know who I'm going to come home to. Ever. Like it could be.
You're like, I don't either.
No, I have started so many things in my life. And this is also what John has done. My brain is always just creating. And what is meant for me is for me. That's why, when it didn't happen with the Housewives thing, everyone's like, are you so sad? No, it wasn't for me. What's for me will be for me. Like if you can't grasp onto things that aren't for you, you'll live a miserable life.
Right. But we all do that from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have started and
it
quit
could
so
just
many
be
things.
A timing thing too.
100%.
There could be things that that just weren't aligned yet.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so when you trust that process, when you trust life, again, I'm going to talk about freedom. Because when you have that freedom, number one, of not caring what anyone thinks, period, there is so much confidence and you treat people better. You treat your spouse with love. You treat your friends with love. You treat people who are doing things you don't, agree with love because you don't care. You're on your own journey.
I actually get I feel like I could do a lot better in my own life of like not caring what people think. It's hard when you're in the public
Oh, I saw
eye.
it.
Mm-hmm. But like I get a lot of criticism for my open support of the LGBT community. Oh yeah. I get a lot of...
Does that feed you or hurt you?
It feeds me.
Yeah.
And whenever anyone's like questioning it, I'm like, it's not about a thing or something. It's about loving people.
Right.
And right now, that movement, the LGBTQ movement right now, human rights movement, is the movement of our time.
100%.
Who are we talking?
We were talking on our podcast about
this. Like,
actually.
There's been movements like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Like, this is our movement.
Yep.
And I have the honor and privilege of being a part of it and supporting.
It's huge.
And people just get so weird about me with the whole pride stuff. And I'm like, I am pride. I love pride. I honor pride. I celebrate pride.
One of the reasons why I think this is working for John and I is we do have so much love to give. And so for us, spoiling, whining and dining, showing a girl the world is so fun for us. And not only that, but showing that person how you should be treated in a relationship. And I think that every single person, well, all three that have left our relationship has left a better person of, I know what I deserve. Every single one.
That's awesome.
I know what I deserve now. Even our the one that we were going to marry, we still talk all the time. And she says, I've never had more fun than the 2 years that I was with you. Those are my best memories.
Do you know how many people are going to message us now and ask if there's applications for this?
We are.
spot?
We're taking applications.
I was going to say, what's
You're
the
going to get
future?
flooded.
No, for real. Like, we want to show, we love sharing our love with somebody.
Yeah,
but there just has
that's
to be this, and I tell people all the time, I told our last girlfriend, this has to be fun. It can't, and this is kind of my analogy, which can sound a little bit harsh, but you can't add an egg to an already baked cake. John and I are a cake, but what can you add?
Frosting, sprinkles, cookies,
flowers, whatever you want. You can put a fucking parakeet on there for all you care. You know what I mean? Like, you can add things to a cake to make that cake more beautiful and delicious. You can't add to the actual cake.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, and so and I said this to our last girlfriend, if you can come in and be frosting and sprinkles, like, you make our life more beautiful, we'll make your life more beautiful, then it works. And after a while, she just said, I need to
Make her own cake.
I want to be a part of your cake.
Yeah. Oh.
It was beautiful. It was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And she cried, and I said, then you need to go find your cake.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't know if it will ever work for us. I mean, if we found the right person, we would definitely marry that person and create a life with them. We would. I'm not scared of that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'd marry 3 people if I wanted to. The world, when you don't have limitations, the world is your oyster. And it is so fun to do it with your spouse, to date with your spouse. Do you know how fun it is to date with your spouse?
No.
Like, to be at a bar and to go, babe, look at her, and have him go, oh, hot. Like, there's just like this fun, like, it's like your best friend. John's my best friend, who we have an incredible sex life together. Like, everyone's like, what are you guys lacking that you're adding something else? Nothing. We have never, ever lacked. We just have our cup runneth over.
So that's beautiful. And I think that a lot of people dream, fantasize, wish they had the courage to do it. I have a feeling there's a lot of people out there that are like stuck in marriage and would love to find a way to stay together, because you don't want to leave. You love your family. You love what you've built, But what's next? So right now you don't have a girlfriend.
We don't have a girlfriend. We're dating, though. Like, we're kind of looking, because
Taking applications.
We're taking applications. Yes. No, we really are. We definitely want to share our life with.
So you're like dating and having fun and just meeting new people.
Yeah, meeting new people. I am extremely picky. I don't want drama. I don't want to fix. Like, I've done that. I've raised kids.
you can't come in and have someone come in and mess up your family dynamic.
Oh no, they won't. They can't. That's actually impossible. And this is going to kind of sound harsh too, but when I was done with our second relationship, that we were going to get married, and John, I've never ever seen him love another woman like he loved this person. And there was a little bit of, okay, he really loves this person. And he loves her almost like he loves me. And I had to kind of go through that a little bit of, am I okay with this? Like, deep breaths. Is this safe? And all of a sudden, my daughter was like, what are you going to do if they have children together and she's done with you? And I was like, ew. That's so negative. This is my chemical engineer daughter, Jada, again. She is really shaped us. I learn from my kids all the time. They're beautiful humans. And I started thinking a little bit about it, and I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I came to John, and I said, I can't do this anymore. This doesn't feel right. And I'm a huge led by consciousness, guardian angels, God. I don't know what it is. I don't really care. But I'm led. And it didn't feel right anymore. And John's response was, let's tell her today. And he loved her. And do you know what that did to me? it opened up a door of, I am your number one. You would do anything for me.
Any doubt you had was gone.
Any doubt that I had was gone. And we told her. And John actually never even really batted an eye. All I want is for you to be happy. But I want you to be happy too, John. I'm happy when you're happy. It was beautiful. And we're still friends with this person. We'll still date. Like I would date any of my, I love all of our ex-girlfriends. Like we have a great relationship. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even know how, I don't even want to wind this down because there's, like I said, there's so much more to talk about, but for sake of time and not taking up your entire day, we are going to wind this one down. We might have, we'll just have to have you back.
Absolutely. I would love it.
So real quick before we go though, that's Whitney and I like to ask people, what are their 3 non-negotiable things that they do every day for themselves?
Yeah, so like,
Whitney usually asks this question.
Yeah, because I'm really big into, like, I've been on this big healing journey, and I'm really big into self-care and like keeping yourself right, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, sexually. But what are your like 3 things that you do every day to keep your like mental health, your emotional health, spiritual health?
Absolutely.
Like, the 3 non-negotiables.
Yep. Okay, so every single morning I wake up, I don't know if other people do this, but I kind of wake up negative. Like I wake up and there's a little...
I hate the morning too.
Yeah, there's a little depression for me that is always there. And so I have to instantly, because life is a mindset. And if people realized how powerful they are at changing a thought or a feeling or a mood, we can change that. So I feel that and I instantly start thinking about how grateful I am to be alive.
So gratitude.
And gratitude 100%. Then John and I have the same routine every single morning. John makes me coffee and lemon water. And we sit down, we write in our journal, we write 3 things that we're grateful for. And we write goals. And then we do our Wordle. I don't know if you guys do Wordle.
What's Wordle?
It's just this little game that we play. We compete against each other. This is every morning, you guys. We're pathetic. And yeah. And then we do our little things. We do our I ams. So, and this is actually hard to do with another person. But we look into each other's eyes and we say, I am beautiful. And John will say, I am successful. I am fit. And we say our I ams. I am the most incredible mother. Affirmations every morning.
I've actually never heard of people saying
we look at each other.
Person.
I'm going to do that with Bobby because I make Bobby look in the mirror.
Yes.
At herself.
Make her look at you. It's beautiful. And then every day I go to the gym. Every single day. Even if I'm sick, I will go into the gym and do nothing, but I'm there. So you'll see me at the gym. Yep. Life is about consistencies, the things that you choose to do. And then at night, if we're home, we always take a walk. Like that's just non-negotiable. Rain, snow, we take a little walk. And we talk, we leave our phones, and we just have that time together. And another thing we do, we go to bed together, we wake up together.
That's awesome.
Those are
it
great.
Keeps your connection with yourself and with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're trying to meditate because we know that's important, but we don't.
Gratitude. Well, the walking is a form of meditation.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And I say these things in the name of
the
Jesus
Wild
Christ.
Rose Podcast.
Yes, the Wild Rose Podcast. Amen.
Well, I told everyone. I mean, I'm sad to let you go, Deb, but we'll just have to have you back on because I'm sure we're going to have a long list of applications, a lot of questions.
Lots of
That's
questions.
actually why I came on.
No, we really appreciate you taking the time. I told you all she's a treat. Like today's a special episode just because very rarely does someone share very openly about their lifestyle and their, that deep into their marriage. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And thank you to all of our listeners. We love you. If you love our podcast, don't forget to share it with your friends. Like us, review us, send in any questions you have for us or the beautiful Deb Thomas. I'm sure there's going to be plenty, but we love you. And as always, don't forget, be you, stay wild.
Yay Networks.